In Saitama, Japan, the morning sun rises over another quiet winter day. It is the first day of December. On TV, the weather announcer reminds everyone to stay warm because the temperature has dropped again. But Kensho Aoto does not feel the cold at all. He looks at the red date marked on his calendar, and his whole body seems filled with a strange, clean strength. He rides his bicycle through the cold wind toward the printing factory where he works. Soon, the promised day will arrive, the day he and she agreed to meet again. During this whole year apart, has she missed him the same way he has missed her? Kensho is 51 years old. He works on the line at a local printing factory. The pay is not high, but it is enough for a modest life. After divorcing his wife, he slowly became used to living alone, cooking alone, going to work alone, coming home alone. His only son, Yuta, has already graduated from university and found a job much better than his father's. From time to time, Yuta comes back to visit him. Today, Yuta brings a rental contract and asks Kensho to be his guarantor. Then he notices the circled date on the calendar and casually asks if something important is happening that day. Kensho does not answer directly because that date belongs only to him and her, a secret promise between two people. His thoughts drift back to 2 years earlier. At that time, Kensho was not feeling well. He went to the hospital for tests and learned there might be a risk of cancer. While waiting for the biopsy result, he stopped by a convenience store near the hospital, and there, behind the register, he saw someone he never expected to meet again, Yoko Sudo, the girl who had filled his entire adolescence with quiet, painful affection. They had not seen each other in 35 years. In his memory, Yoko was young and delicate, like a flower from another season. Now there were wrinkles around her eyes, but the feelings he thought had gone silent long ago suddenly rose back to the surface. After paying, Kensho does not leave. He stays there, awkwardly trying to make conversation. He deliberately mentions his health scare, hoping it might draw out a few words of concern from Yoko. But 35 years have stood between them. Yoko knows nothing about what Kensho has lived through, and the tragedy on her own side is not something she knows how to explain either. For two people who are familiar and unfamiliar at the same time, careless concern feels too sudden. So Yoko pretends not to hear the heavier part and gently asks about his recent life instead. Yoko says she only recently moved back to Saitama. She does not explain why in detail, but she is clearly happy that they have met again. She does not want to sink into the sadness of the past. She only wants to focus on this moment. So she suggests that they form a little support group for just the two of them. Whenever either one feels down, they can talk, complain, and encourage each other. Kensho agrees immediately. His son is grown. His ex-wife seems to have found a new relationship. Only Kensho is still alone. Work, home, sleep, repeat. On his free days, he also visits the nursing home to care for his mother, who has dementia. His life has become quiet, tiring, and predictable. But Yoko's appearance is like a stone dropped into a still lake. For the first time in a long while, his unchanging days ripple. On the day of their first proper meeting, Kensho pushes open the noren curtain of an izakaya. Voices, grilled food, and warmth rush toward him. He finds Yoko right away. 2 glasses of draft beer, a few skewers. And once they start talking, they forget the time. After graduation, Yoko entered a securities company. At 30, she got married. Back then, life seemed bright. Her career was promising. Her marriage seemed happy. But when she was 40, her husband suddenly passed away. After that, other things happened. Around and around, life carried her back to her hometown, where she now works quietly as a cashier in a small convenience store. Yoko and Kensho are not grand people. They are ordinary adults who have already walked through half a lifetime. Each has worries, each has wounds. But tonight, they lift their glasses only to celebrate this reunion after so many years. As the night deepens, the once noisy izakaya slowly empties until only the two of them remain. Then the elderly owner plays an old classic song. In the stillness, Yoko begins to hum softly. The melody feels as if it has traveled through time, low, long, and tender. Kensho is quietly absorbed by it. He wishes he could stay with Yoko like this forever. But both of them have work the next day. Seeing how late it has become, Kensho offers to walk her home. When they arrive, he sees a young man standing below Yoko's apartment. A brief panic crosses Yoko's face. She quickly says goodbye and leaves. Who is that man? In Yoko's vague and painful past, what role does he play? Watching her walk away, Kensho thinks back to their middle school days. Even though Yoko was always quiet in class, many boys liked her, but she rejected every confession. Their friend Eguchi was one of those rejected boys. Looking back now, that failed confession feels like a tiny episode from youth. Eguchi, who was never very serious back then, has now become a father. Today, Eguchi is sending his daughter off at her wedding. Watching him cry on stage, Kensho finds it funny, but also strangely moving. 30 years pass so quickly. The reckless boys of the past have become adults with families, responsibilities, and their own aging faces. Time really has changed so much. Later, when Kensho has dinner with old classmates, someone still remembers Yoko, the girl who rejected Eguchi. But no one would imagine that Kensho has reconnected with her. That night, Kensho and Yoko plan to meet at their usual place. But the izakaya is full, so Yoko suggests drinking at her apartment instead. Kensho immediately blushes. Even at 51, the idea of being alone in a room with his first love still makes him shy. Yoko grows rosemary downstairs. Her apartment is neater and cleaner than Kensho expected. That night, they talk again about the missing 35 years. The blank space between them is slowly being filled. Kensho tells Yoko that when he and his wife divorced 5 years earlier, he spent his days numbing himself with alcohol. Then one day, he suddenly realized he could not keep sinking like that, so he gritted his teeth and quit drinking completely. Now, when he looks back, that painful period has become something he can laugh about. But who has never had a dark season? After her husband died, Yoko prepared herself to stay single for the rest of her life. They had no children. But 5 years ago, when she was still working at a bank in Tokyo, she met a much younger man. He had a bad temper. He often drank too much. Objectively speaking, he was not a good partner. But strangely, Yoko became deeply attached to him. She even paid off his credit card debt. That was the beginning of her ruin. To keep him happy, Yoko spent all the savings she had built up. She took extra part-time jobs just to make more money for his needs. But the man was never satisfied. When the debt piled higher and her savings ran dry, he persuaded her to sell the house her late husband had left behind. Yoko gave him half the money. Only after losing the house that could have protected her did she finally wake up. For what she called love, she had lost a respectable job, taken on heavy debt, and thrown the second half of her life into chaos. He destroyed her life, and from beginning to end, he never truly cared about her. Once she came to her senses, Yoko broke up with him and returned to her hometown to start over. The young man Kensho saw below her apartment that night was that same man. Yoko did not expect him to come find her again, but now, when she looks at him, there is no old attraction left. Looking back, she cannot even understand what she had been thinking at the time. This story had been buried in her heart for a long time. She had no one to tell. Tonight, with alcohol loosening the knot, she finally says it out loud. Then she asks about Kensho's test result. Her own colonoscopy result will also come out tomorrow. Kensho's result is due the next morning too. The next day, Kensho enters the hospital with a tight chest. Once people reach a certain age, the body no longer feels as reliable as before. Something grows here, something hurts there. Fortunately, the doctor says his condition is only ordinary inflammation. There is no sign of cancer. Still, because of his age, the doctor advises him to get regular gastrointestinal screening every year. The moment Kensho leaves the hospital, he takes out his phone and sends Yoko the good news. At the convenience store, one of Yoko's co-workers is also a former classmate. She has always been surprised that Yoko suddenly returned home. Yoko rarely talks about the past, but the way she moves through each day quietly and heavily makes it obvious that she has suffered a great deal. The co-worker has heard rumors. Yoko's late husband had once been married before. His former wife was Yoko's co-worker at the bank. When that woman came to Yoko for advice about domestic violence, Yoko encouraged her to leave him as soon as possible. The ex-wife successfully divorced him. But later, Yoko married that same man. The co-worker cannot understand it. Yoko knew he was dangerous. She knew what kind of man he was. Why did she still walk into that fire? After thinking about it, the co-worker can only connect it to Yoko's painful family background. A person who grew up in that kind of broken environment may slowly lose the ability to love properly and accept happiness. Kensho listens quietly. He does not comment. The past is already the past. There is no point digging forever. People have to keep moving forward. Still, one thing bothers him. Yoko usually replies to messages quickly. but she has not answered his good news text all day. After waiting through the whole day, Kensho cannot relax. He goes to Yoko's apartment. Only then does he learn that her test result is not good. Yoko has advanced colorectal cancer. She must arrange surgery as soon as possible. All day, she has been contacting her younger sister in another city, hoping her sister can come and sign the surgical consent forms. That night, they still meet at their usual izakaya, but the atmosphere has changed. Yoko asks the old owner for beer after beer and drinks quietly. The surgery is near. No one knows whether it will go well. Even if it does, a long treatment road waits ahead, and the convenience store can only give her 3 months of leave at most. In the end, she may have to resign. She had finally broken free from her past and rebuilt a stable life. Now illness is about to interrupt everything again. Just thinking about it exhausts her. This time, however, Yoko has Kensho beside her. Kensho remembers that in middle school, he once gathered the courage to confess to her. He had believed he might be different from the other boys. They had been fairly close. Maybe she would give him a different answer, but Yoko rejected him too. And her reason was strangely specific. She said she would never accept anyone's feelings in this life. As the surgery day approaches, Kensho wants to do something ceremonial for Yoko. He suggests taking her out for a proper meal. Yoko only smiles and says they should eat something simple at home instead. That night, Kensho visits her again. Downstairs, he runs into the young man from before. The man takes out a stack of cash and asks Kensho to give it to Yoko. He says he is getting married soon and feels guilty. He wants to offer at least some compensation. Kensho believes he understands Yoko well enough. Last time the man came, Yoko refused to take a single yen. To her, that refusal already meant cutting him off completely. Kensho cannot accept the money for her without permission, so he politely sends the man away. Not long after, Yoko returns. The two sit across from each other and drink like usual, talking about ordinary things. Her tone is calm. From the outside, no one would guess that she is going into surgery the next day. Only now does Kensho understand why Yoko's apartment is so clean and sparse. She has already planned for the possibility of dying alone. If someone has to clean up after her one day, she wants to leave as little trouble as possible. She also owns many new clothes, but she cannot bring herself to wear them. She cannot throw them away either. Somewhere inside, she is still waiting for the future. Maybe one day, everything will get better. When that day comes, she will wear those new clothes. When Kensho first faced the possibility of cancer, he panicked, but Yoko had seemed completely calm. Now, for the first time, that mask slips. She finally shows vulnerability in front of him. Kensho looks at her and feels his heart tighten. How many years of pain has she swallowed to become someone who can hide even suffering so quietly? All the affection and pity he has carried for half a lifetime surges up at once. He cannot hold back anymore. He reaches out and holds her. He wants this embrace to tell her something simple. From now on, he will stay by her side. On the day of surgery, Yoko deliberately does not let Kensho go to the hospital with her. Kensho stays home and eats hot pot with his old friends. They encourage him to confess properly and be bold. But Kensho has his own concerns. Both he and Yoko are already past 50. They have each lived through half a lifetime of storms. They are both carrying old wounds. If they force themselves into a relationship, maybe they will hurt each other instead. Perhaps it is better to keep the distance they have now. No need for grand romantic words. No need to demand a title. Just staying quietly beside each other may be the best kind of love for them. Yoko's surgery goes smoothly. Kensho's heart finally settles. He goes to a shopping mall and chooses a crescent moon necklace for her. He remembers that Yoko loves the moon. A crescent moon will slowly grow fuller night after night until it becomes a full moon. He hopes Yoko's life after this illness can be like that, emerging from darkness, moving toward wholeness. After surgery comes 6 months of cancer treatment. Everything proceeds steadily, but one thing causes Yoko deep embarrassment. After the operation, she must wear a stoma bag. Whenever she changes it alone, shame rises inside her. She feels as if she is no longer whole, as if something foreign is always attached to her body. Facing Kensho, an old insecurity returns. Back in middle school, Yoko had already grown used to life without a mother. Then, one ordinary afternoon, her mother, who had left home years earlier, suddenly knocked on the door. In a small city like Saitama, gossip travels fast. Yoko's mother had run away with a younger man when Yoko was still in elementary school. Now that she had returned, neighbors and classmates quickly began talking. Even students who were friendly with Yoko could not resist gossiping behind her back. Kensho felt awful hearing it. He thought they were treating Yoko's pain as entertainment, so he interrupted them. But Yoko did not want the boy she liked to see her humiliation. Ashamed and angry, she ran out of the classroom and told Kensho harshly to stop meddling. Still, Kensho never truly left her behind. He stayed in Saitama. Yoko was the one who later went to Tokyo for school, leaving everything that happened in her hometown behind. From the autumn when they reunited, almost a year passes. Yoko's recovery after surgery is decent. Only 2 chemotherapy sessions remain. But the medicine is strong, and after every treatment, she has to rest in bed. Her younger sister, Michi, comes from out of town to stay with her and care for her. Michi remembers that when Yoko visited last year, she mentioned a new boyfriend. At the time, Yoko's words carried a rare satisfaction and happiness. That smile stayed in Michi's mind. Today, Michi finally meets Kensho. Looking at his familiar face, she suddenly remembers him. He was Yoko's middle school classmate. Back then, Yoko once said she liked Kensho. Kensho is surprised to learn that he was Yoko's first love too. After half a lifetime of wandering, the two have finally found their way back to each other. In his heart, Kensho makes a quiet decision. He must treasure this hard-won bond. Fortunately, the final 2 chemotherapy sessions also go well. After 6 months of treatment, Yoko officially returns to normal life. Kensho suggests they take a weekend trip to a hot spring. But Yoko touches the stoma bag under her clothes, and the light in her eyes dims. Her life has only just returned to some kind of rhythm. For now, she does not want to push herself too far. Work seriously during the day. Fall in love gently after work. A simple life feels full enough. Unfortunately, the next day, the nursing home calls. Kensho's mother has passed away. Kensho is sad, but also quietly relieved. His mother's dementia had become severe. For a very old person like her, passing away may have been a release. For Kensho, who had cared for her for so long, it is also the end of a heavy responsibility. At the funeral, Yoko meets Kensho's ex-wife. She also runs into old classmates from middle school. Everyone greets each other politely. It is as if all the rumors and embarrassment that once surrounded Yoko have faded into the wind. No one seems to remember. After that, when Kensho gets off work, he often passes Yoko's apartment. He is used to seeing her standing on the balcony, quietly looking into the distance. He follows her gaze and sees only a thin moon hanging in the night sky. One day, Yoko goes for a follow-up checkup. That night, Kensho asks about the result. Yoko does not answer directly, but the small smile on her face makes him think it must be fine. Yoko's birthday is coming soon. Their relationship has also become more stable. Kensho wants to define things more clearly, but that wish touches Yoko's deepest pain. She has never fully escaped her past. Her parents' broken marriage left a wound in her childhood that never truly disappeared. It shaped a contradiction inside her. She longs to be loved, but deep down, she is also afraid of love. Because she lacked love so badly, she later made humiliating choices in the name of love. She married a man she knew could be violent. She chased a younger man who did not truly care about her. She emptied her savings, maxed out credit cards, and ended up in debt and shame. Now her body is not healthy either. After surgery, she must live with a stoma bag every day. Kensho's feelings are too pure, and that purity scares her. She feels broken. She feels unworthy of his sincerity. These days, when she stands on the balcony staring at the moon, she has been thinking about whether she should leave Kensho, and when she should say it. But to Kensho, true love can endure the world's scars. He says he is not a perfect person either. When he was with his ex-wife, he once had another girlfriend. Everyone does foolish things when they are young. The past is already over. There is no need to hold it forever. What matters most is the feeling they have now. And right now, he deeply loves Yoko. He wants to spend the rest of his life with her. Why should that be rejected? But when Kensho realizes Yoko has already made up her mind, he does not force her. Instead, he takes one step back. They make an agreement. On December 20 of the next year, they will meet again and take the hot spring trip they once talked about. Kensho believes Yoko still has feelings for him. Her old wounds have only trapped her for now. He is willing to give her time and space. He is willing to wait for a year. He believes that after a year passes, Yoko will understand what she truly wants. When the day comes, whether they choose to let go and live separately or break through the wall and stay together again, he will accept it. During that year without meeting, Kensho sends Yoko a message every day. He shares what he ate. He talks about small things from daily life. Even though Yoko never replies, he never stops. As long as he has the winter promise in his heart, life has something to look forward to. Every day he lives brings him one step closer to seeing her again. Winter passes, spring comes, then summer and autumn. Soon, fewer than 5 days remain before their meeting. December in Saitama is so cold that every breath takes shape in the air. People on the street look tired and slow. Only Kensho feels warmer with each passing day. His heart is filled with expectation. But during lunch at work, a coworker casually tells him shocking news. Yoko passed away last month. According to her wishes, her sister Michi held no funeral and made no public announcement. She left quietly. Kensho cannot believe it. He rushes to Yoko's apartment and happens to meet Michi, who is packing up Yoko's belongings. Only then does the sealed truth open. 6 months after surgery, during the follow-up checkup, Yoko learned that the cancer had spread widely. Kensho freezes, because that checkup was the very day Yoko suggested they separate. From the beginning, she had known the worst result, but she chose to carry it alone. She pushed Kensho away on purpose, not wanting him to suffer with her. While Kensho was living his daily life, Yoko was lying in the hospital, going through round after round of treatment. She had not forgotten the December promise. She kept cooperating with treatment because she still hoped she could recover in time. But 3 weeks before her death, her condition suddenly worsened beyond repair. Michi had once asked whether Yoko wanted to tell Kensho. Yoko refused. She did not want Kensho to see her weakened and damaged by illness. In his memory, she wanted to remain calm, graceful, and whole. Kensho can no longer remember how he walks out of Yoko's apartment. He reaches the shopping street, looking at the scenery that has barely changed. In a daze, his mind returns to many years earlier. That day, Yoko did not come to class. Kensho worried about her and went to her house to check on her. There, he accidentally saw her parents arguing. Yoko noticed Kensho standing nearby. Driven by wounded pride, she ran away. Kensho ran after her. They kept running until they reached the shopping street. Then they ran into a police patrol. In a panic, Kensho grabbed Yoko and pulled her toward the river. They walked and ran from early morning light to evening dusk. When they finally stopped, Kensho asked what kind of adult Yoko wanted to become. He said that when he grew up, he wanted to build something proper and make a good life. Yoko also had a dream. She wanted to live alone in the future, away from endless family arguments and pain. Even now, Kensho still remembers the moon hanging in the sky that day. It was so full and bright. Moonlight fell across 14-year-old Yoko's face. Her eyes were clear and shining, filled with limitless longing for the life ahead. That's all for today's movie recap. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe our channel, like, comment, and share. I'll see you in the next one.